Let's go now to an interview with the Australian's Victorian political editor, Anthony Galloway, who's going to give his assessment on what's been a pretty dramatic day at Spring Street. I'm going to welcome Anthony. I'm going to talk to Jess Wilson in a moment, but I mean, what can we say about the revolving door of the Liberal leadership in Victoria? 1 year, 3 leaders. She is the third. She only just arrived in the Parliament this term. So the move today, crazy brave, some say, it demonstrates that Libs are a rabble, that they're not ready for government. Or others say she's exactly the sort of game changer we need to get the massive 8% swing they need to throw Labor out of office. What do you think?
Yeah, as you say, the third leader in 11 months. But the irony is she could have gone months ago. Jess Wilson actually had the numbers, I believe, many months ago. The only hold-up was Wilson, that she wasn't willing to go yet. She's a 35-year-old with a young son. So from her perspective, she had time on her hands. As you said before, she could have let the bloke go and let Batten lose an election and go next term. She had many years, potentially before she had to put her hand up. But I guess in politics, when you have the numbers, you go. And she did have the numbers, and it became quite clear to her over recent weeks. The Conservatives and the moderates and what you could broadly describe as kind of centrist MPs in that party room, they all coalesced in recent weeks around her, and Batten's support just absolutely went through the floor.
Yeah, just on that, why did it go through the floor? Because, I mean, they're a fickle bunch, that party room, as we well know, but the polling had showed he was gaining ground on the Labor leader, and certainly the polling out from Freshwater in the last couple of days had him well in front of the Premier as a preferred Premier, but also in the two-party preferred vote, the Liberals were comfortably ahead. Now, I know he's got to get a big swing, I get all of that, but why did he have to go if he was ahead?
Well, he was ahead on the personal numbers. Today's Freshwater poll, I guess, was the first one that was kind of positive for him on a two-party preferred basis in quite some time. For example, our last news poll in July had Jacinta Allen's government 53-47 ahead, and that wasn't really turning on any of the major public polls. As you say, what was in his favour was those favourability ratings. And that was reflected in both parties' internals. I'm told that, in Labor, for example, Jacinta Allen's, she's not popular. Both parties' internal polling is telling them that. Judging from talking to both sides in recent days, I suspect Labor's internals are actually worse than the coalition's. So within Labor, they're actually questioning this move, because they, I believe, had the contest more at around 50-50, two-party preferred, and that explains why that Jacinta Allen's done things that she and some of her comrades in the left faction of the Victorian Labor Party don't believe in chucking 14-year-olds in
100%.
adult jails.
This is my point, Anthony. Like he was able to push her into a place that you would never imagine the Labor left faction to go. And she made a whole series of announcements last week, almost one on a daily basis, that tell me that they were spooked, that their internals were poor, and there was almost a touch of the Brax about Batten. Yes, he sort of tripped over his words sometimes. Yes, he looked like the suburban dad. That, I think, was part of the appeal. They don't need to convince people in Kew, where Jess Wilson's from, to vote for the Liberal Party. They need to be out there in the Rovals and the Ringwoods and the outer suburbs of Melbourne and really change hearts and minds in the suburbs. And he was of the suburbs. So I'm not sure, time will tell, whether this was such a smart move at all. It depends now on, can she broaden the attack? Yes, he was good at crime, but can she go after the economy and the budget and housing and all these things that she lifted off today? And I'll get your take on this one, because she's up against, I reckon, one of the most formidable Labor machines in the country. They've got plenty of money. They've got plenty of resourcing in terms of foot soldiers and others, that they are the hard left activist Labor down here. The Libs, on the other hand, they've gone through scandal after scandal. They've had to sack their state director. They've only just announced his replacement. I mean, are they ready to support her to run as leader?
Yeah, time will tell whether Wilson's kind of broader objective, which is to really prosecute the case over the economy, budget management, and all these taxes that Labor's had to impose because, really to hold off another credit downgrade from the ratings agencies. Time will tell whether prosecuting that as well as crime will kind of turn around the polls for the Liberal Party, or whether Brad's kind of, almost exclusive focus on the crime crisis, which is, a real crisis gripping communities all over Melbourne, whether that was the better way to go.
We will see. Anthony Galloway, thank you.